Okay, hello guys. I thought today I would do a Q&A video, and some of you already left me some questions through my Instagram, so I'm going to go ahead and answer them. I'm feeling good. I just went to get a pedicure. I feel like I shouldn't really have my feet in the video in case there's someone with a foot fetish, but whatever, I'll live dangerously. I just picked up a lavender matcha from the place next door to where I got my pedicure, and I feel like this girl right now who's got her life together, because I just went to get a pedicure, paid in cash for both my pedicure and the matcha, so technically had a free self-care day. This is amazing. Like, this is really good. I asked the lady working in the shop, I was like, but is it actually good? Because lavender and matcha seems to be like, yeah, I've just got on board with matcha like a few months ago, love it. But I was scared that the lavender would taste really overpowering, but I like it, I have to say. And I also picked up a banana bread. I don't know what's going on. I'm really hungry today. Like, I've already had lunch, but I needed a little afternoon snack, and I thought, well, I'm going to be speaking to you guys and answering some questions, so I think I need a bit of a little beverage and a little snack for that, you know? I'm also the worst because I've got to this lazy point where I never actually put the lid on my Stanley Cup on because I'm constantly drinking water. Like, I drink so much water, and my boyfriend gets so annoyed at me. He's always like, one day this is going to fall over, and it has fallen over a few times, so I'm actually going to put the lid on. And it's not really any extra effort. I don't know why it's such a huge task for me, you know? Okay, that's better. I always, when I have a drink like this, I need to have water with me because it's a strong taste, you know? I need to cleanse the palate a bit. Okay, I'm going to put it on the floor, hopefully it doesn't fall over. So to answer this question, so I'm going to talk about my fitness journey being the conscious fitness journey, because in the past I had a fitness journey, but it was very much unconscious, and it was very much for the wrong reasons. It was more about me losing weight and me trying to be the smallest version of myself. That was already probably more than 10 years ago when I started fitness to do with losing weight. And obviously I got to a point where I was very, very underweight and had eating disorders, and it just was not good. So for a while, when I was recovering from my eating disorders, I didn't exercise for probably 2 years or 3 years. I'd say 2 or 3 years. I just stopped with exercise completely, obviously, because I needed to gain weight and I needed to get better. The fitness journey that I've been on in a conscious way has probably been for the last 5 years. I started with doing things in lockdown and just before lockdown, in COVID kind of times. Like, I was running for my mental health, which felt really, really good. I loved it in London where I lived because we lived right next to the canal, so again, great spot to run. And then when I went back to my parents during the lockdown, I really loved running then. It was the only thing in my life that felt consistent in a time where we never knew what the hell was going on. Motivation and struggles. So this is something I feel like everyone goes through. Obviously motivation is something that comes and goes. 90% of my life I'm just not motivated. Like, I'm really not. I'm not someone who is naturally super, super positive either. I mean, that sounds quite bad, I guess, but I am quite a real person. Like, I'm a realist, and I really sense a lot of pain from the world, and it does take a little bit more for me to be in like a very upbeat mood, and not necessarily upbeat, but like more positive and like viewing things in a positive way. It's something I'm really working on and have worked on for the past couple of years. So yeah, motivation in the gym and fitness for me has been not always there, I have to say, but more of what has been there is consistency, because I am disciplined, and for me, fitness is a self-care ritual. It's something I need to do. It's something I need to do. It's something that I refuse to feel bad for doing as well. Like, I need it for my mental health. I used to be on antidepressants for 5 years, and I was very numb to the world. So for me, movement is a way where I can get from my mind into my body. And I'm very open about that. I never used to be in touch with my body. Like, I viewed it as something that I didn't have ownership of. It was always like a modelling agency had ownership of me, or yeah, something that needed to be shrunk. I am English, but I don't know which word that is. Shrunk, I think. I feel like I'm going off the question. I'm just trying to come back to it. Motivation is something that comes and goes, but consistency is what is key. So yeah, I hope that answered that question. I kind of blabbed a lot, but it's fine. I'm gonna try the banana bread. It's like walnut and banana. Oh, it feels dry. Oh, it's dry. Why does it taste like fish? It tastes like fish, I'm not even kidding. That's really dry, that's really disappointing. The next question is, do you struggle to make friends, and do you have any tips on how to make friends? To be honest, I feel like I don't struggle to make friends necessarily. Like, I'm a very open book. I can be in certain situations very loud and very confident. I feel like with friends, you have to know who you are in order to gravitate to the ones that actually have your best interests at heart. Because if you don't know who you are and you're putting on this mask of like who you think you should be, or just a little bit inauthentic or something like that, then you then end up gravitating and attracting those people who are also not authentic. When I first moved to Amsterdam, that's when I really realised, okay, I really want to make friends, but I'm struggling here because I was comparing my friendships that I've had for like 10 years with friendships I've had for like 1 month, you know what I mean? So obviously you can't really compare the two. And it did take me a while to find friends here. It probably took me like, I would say a year to like actually find my feet. I've lived here now like 2.5 years, but it took me a year to really find my feet with, okay, I like that person, I think we could hang out more than just in a let's go for a drink setting. Do I have any tips for making friends? Yes, you have to figure out what your interests are. So maybe that's well-being, like health and well-being, wellness. Maybe that is art, creativity. Maybe that is music. Maybe that's dance. Maybe that is nature or something completely different, you know? It could be absolutely anything you want. So I think it's finding people in the same communities or networks. So for me, one thing where I've actually met really great people through is an ice bath community. So every Saturday I go to the community called Chills and Sips in Amsterdam, and I always end up talking to people who I have similar interests to, you know? And I think that's something really important. Like, I think that gives you some basis for like sparking up a conversation. I think it's also not like, when I first came here, I had to message people to be like, do you want to go for a coffee? Do you want to go for a drink? Do you want to go hang out? And like, that's also what you have to do at the beginning, especially if you've moved to a new place, or maybe you would like to build more friendships. And I think it's just reaching out to people, and the only thing they can say is no, right? And then you're trying. Okay, the next question is, do you count calories, and how many calories do you eat in a day? I personally don't count calories. Obviously I've passed with an eating disorder, so for me to like count calories would be really stupid, because that did not work for me the first time around, you know what I mean? Like, didn't end up great, wouldn't recommend to a friend. Would I do it again? Absolutely not. Like, something very far from my mind. For me it's not super helpful, but for other people who have had no issues or no problems with food in the past, and it works for them, then absolutely sure, go with counting calories. But for me, I just don't really care anymore about calories. Like, I also have a rough sense of what works well for my body in terms of portions, food, yeah, not restricting myself, and just like, I'm very much like an intuitive eater. So yeah, I don't count calories, and I don't really know how many calories I consume per day. Like, it can really, yeah, I guess vary. Like, some days I eat probably more than others, and that's perfectly fine. Like, that just is what works for me. But if it works for you, then please go for it. What do you eat for breakfast most often? I have a little bit more of a sweet tooth than a savory tooth. Can you tell? So I usually get some quark or Greek yogurt and put some like fruit in there, some bananas, some blueberries, some strawberries, whatever I have in the fridge. Some chia seeds, cinnamon, and then I put a bit of granola. Really depends. Or I like porridge in winter, like porridge. Oh, and peanut butter. Peanut butter is a big component of a good breakfast. I do peanut butter in my porridge and frozen fruit and whatever I really have. Like, nothing too crazy, and I'm kind of a person who likes to have the same breakfast. I could have the same breakfast for 6 weeks on repeat, and then at some point I'm sick of it and then I want to move on. What is your workout split? Cardio, steps and strength? At the moment, because I'm training for a half marathon, I am doing 3 runs a week. One is an easy run, one is a long run, one is a tempo run, like an interval run. I'm doing at least 2 days of strength in the gym, and I quite like to split it in terms of upper body and lower body. That's just what works for me. It's what I enjoy the most, and that's what I do. I do like one other day, and that kind of is whatever I want to do, and it's kind of a fun. I call it like my fun day, because it could be Pilates, it could be reformer, it could be yoga, boxing, dance, like whatever I'm in the mood for that week is what I do. And in terms of my steps, I don't really count them either, because it's not a priority of mine to get steps in when I'm running like 3 days a week. I really don't need to track it because I'm quite an active person. Luckily, I can be very active, and yeah, every day I'm doing something. Favorite makeup and skincare products? I think I will do a separate video on this because I have been thinking about doing a video of this for a long time. I'm very, very simple with skincare because I really overdid it with a lot of harsh products where my skin barrier got really, really damaged and compromised last year, and it led to my skin feeling so thin and weak and like a lot of breakouts. But okay, I got my stuff because I couldn't remember the names of anything. Oh, I didn't get the face wash. Oh, I'm gonna get the face wash. Okay, so if I have makeup on, which is what I have on right now, I'll do a separate video for this. I'm wearing like it's like a Chanel water tint, so it's like more of a tint and it's not heavy, it doesn't feel greasy or anything. So I first used the Purito. I love this brand. Like, I feel like this brand is the only thing of Korean skincare that I really actually like. Purito, why can I not read backwards? From Green Cleansing Oil, so I just put like it on my hand, 3 pumps, like zhuzh it all over my face and then wash it off. And then straight away I just used the CeraVe Hydrating Cream to Foam Cleanser on top of that to get off, like it's a double. Okay, my camera turned off. A double cleansing kind of system. So I do the oil and then I do the foam to hydrating cleanser. Then what I do is this spray from Caudalie. So it's just like a water spray with grape water for sensitive skin. So I use it as a toner, so I just, so refreshing. I just do a little bit of that. So I use this Beauty by Joseon serum. It's a green tea calming one with panthenol in, which is just very hydrating. It's not going to strip the skin or anything. For my moisturizer, I just use the Cetaphil cream hydrating moisturizer. It's not got any perfumes or any scents or anything in. Then I use, oh yeah, in my moisturizer I also put some self tan drops, which is the Bondi Sands self tan drops. Don't really have an opinion about these. These are okay. I used Tan Lux before, so I'm not sure if I prefer these or Tan Lux. I'm kind of a bit in between. It doesn't really matter to me too much. Just, I really like using tan oil in my skincare because, yeah, just gives you a little bit more of a healthy look. And then I use sun cream, obviously, always using SPF 50 because even if it's cloudy, you can still get those UV rays in your skin. So this one is also the Beauty of Joseon sun cream, but I just ran out of, because I'm usually using my Purito one, but I just ran out of that one, and I do prefer the Purito one, but right now this is the one I had in my cupboard that was like my second option, if that makes sense. The next question is, how did you meet your boyfriend? So we actually met in Ibiza a few years ago. We matched on a dating app, and I almost didn't meet him actually because he was going to go home, but then he texted me like, oh, I extended my flight, do you want to go for a drink? So we went for a drink and chatted like all night basically, had a really nice evening, and yeah, honestly I felt like the date went really well, and yeah, I obviously wanted to see him again. Obviously, I had some really weird experiences dating when I lived in London. So I didn't have my hopes high, you know. I kind of thought to myself, it's just a holiday fling, you know, or okay, Moya, don't be silly, like, yeah. But obviously I did feel feelings for him, you know. So naturally what I did was I FaceTimed him every day when I was still there, and just would literally just FaceTime him doing random things. And I thought, this is a good way to know if you're actually annoying to someone and they don't want to see you again, or actually if they do like want to speak to you. And yeah, you know, like, I just don't think playing games is a good idea if you're single. Just do the call, or call the person if you want to speak to them, and the only thing they can do is not pick up and or tell you, you know, that they don't want to speak, which is cool, you know. Then you have your answer either way. So we FaceTimed a lot, and eventually I came to Amsterdam like a month later. I also met another girl from Amsterdam, because he lives in Amsterdam. I was living in London. I didn't really give the backstory. I also met another girl from Amsterdam who was a photographer, so she was also like, oh, you should come to Amsterdam, and then he was like, you should come to Amsterdam. So I was like, I've got to go to Amsterdam. But at that point it was like lockdown times, and the UK was on a really high alert, so you couldn't go to Amsterdam or the Netherlands from the UK unless you were there for business purposes or you had a residency card. I was obviously not there for either of those, but it's quite funny. I mean, hopefully I won't get put in jail, but I made this fake Vogue Netherlands letter, well, with the help of my friend Romy, and she basically put in the letter that Vogue Netherlands would like to invite me for a photo shoot. So I printed out the letter with the logo, with her address, you know, I had to say where I'd be staying, and I said it was at the photographer's house, and it's true, like, she is a photographer and she has worked with Vogue. And obviously I came to border control. I was shaking like a fucking leaf, like I was like, with this letter. I don't even know if I printed out the letter. I think I tried to print it out, and there was an issue because I was really hungover on the day that I was flying to Amsterdam, and it was all like too much, and I was sweating, and I don't think I printed out the letter. Oh man, those were the days, just remembering that. So I was like showing it on my phone, like, here it is. And then I did get let through quite easily, so I was really surprised that it just got in, and I was kind of like, oh my god, I felt very legal, so I got a bit of a thrill from that. I got to Amsterdam, and straight away it just felt supernatural and easy, and I think those are the things that you should look for if you're going to get into a relationship. Like, could this also be my best friend, you know? Because you have to be besties at the same time as being lovers. I think that's really important, that you can just have a laugh with someone, be silly, be your authentic self, because a lot of the times I dated people and I felt like I just couldn't really be the whole package, you know, like I had to dim my light in order for them to like take the lead or something, whereas actually, fuck no, like, I'm the whole package, bitch. Moving on. What was your no returning point that triggered the change in your lifestyle? Well, when I was in my very much model party lifestyle, I was very controlled by substances, let's say, and drinking and partying, and yeah, like, I don't remember a time where I thought I could go a week without drinking or a week without drugs or anything like that. The point of no return, I think, was a little bit of moving to Amsterdam, because I think for me, I had to be taken out of my environment in London to be put in a new city. I could have gone down the same path where, you know, I'm doing exactly the same thing. So for me, my relationship was a big help in the fact that I could physically move to a new city, starting from scratch. And also, yeah, I wanted to like build myself up, because I started to believe in myself, I started to see myself and have a future, and I started to view myself as someone that deserves a future and deserves health. Starting the gym, that was a massive thing for me, because it gave me some kind of goal and consistency, and I'd never had that in my life, so it gave me some structure and some routine, which I so desperately needed. And then ended up quitting vaping like 6 months into that. The drugs part was honestly easier than I expected, because I removed myself from the environment. Like, I didn't have any numbers for any dealers. like obviously I would still go out and drink and get drunk, but yeah, like I kind of wanted to go home when my boyfriend went home, you know. I didn't want to carry on the party because I'm thinking to myself, what is the point, you know? Like I want to be with this guy who I love and he's leaving already, so what is the point of me going out for 5, 6, 10 more hours, you know? How did you start getting into running, and do you have any tips to get started? Okay, I got into running years ago when I was in London with my flatmate. Like we used to really love going on a run. But obviously I had to get into running again this year, or last year even, because I'd stopped for like 2 or 3 years. And that was hard, like that was harder than I expected, because you really have to give yourself a little pep talk, you know, about okay, I'm gonna go, and I had to get rid of the fact that I wanted to do it in the fastest way possible. Like I was always very competitive for myself, and I think starting again and saying to myself, look, just go and have no expectation. Maybe that's a 10-minute run, maybe that's 3 kilometers, 2 kilometers. So that's for me what really helped. And tips would just be always do a warm-up and a cool-down. This is what made me injured last year, because I was just rushing through my warm-ups. Invest in a little running belt so that you can put your phone in there and like your house keys, and have a really good playlist. I have a really good one on Spotify called Run Faster Bitch. I know it's quite an intense, it's a bit of an aggressive name, but you guys can handle it. Yeah, I think those are my tips actually, yeah. But running is amazing, it's so good for your mental health. I love the endorphins, and I feel bloody amazing when I run, so I really recommend it. Where does your name Moya come from? Well, it's an Irish name, but my parents are both from UK. I think they just really like the name, and we used to go to Ireland a lot when I was a kid. Also, I have an uncle who lives there who's amazing. That's like my dad's best friend. So we used to really go there all the time as kids, and I think my parents actually wanted to move there at some point. But I really like my name actually, and when I was a kid I always wanted to have like a normal name, but now as I'm older obviously I'm like, why would I want to have a normal name when my name I actually really like. So yeah, that is why my name is Moya. And the final question is, what balances your thoughts and emotions on the bad days? I'm always someone that has had bad days, and it's still even today. I do struggle with bad days, like I do, and that's normal, you know. And I think overcoming that feeling that it's not normal is something that I had to do. But for me, what's really helped is connecting to myself more. And over the last year or something, I have given so much time to understanding myself better. And I feel like I'm only at the very beginning of this spirituality journey, let's just say. I can probably make another video about that because I think it is something quite interesting. I have just got to know myself very well, and what makes me feel good, what doesn't make me feel good. I'm someone who really needs a good routine, otherwise I can find it a bit, yeah, if I have no structure I just don't really do anything, which then leads me to feeling really bad. But I think for me having a morning routine is super helpful, so having an alarm, not snoozing it, getting my ass out of that bed and straight away just doing my Sudoku. I always say this wrong, I think it's Sudoku, but I always say Sudoku, as in like the car, I think. But yeah, having a good morning routine, so sitting down, reading or writing or doing a crossword or something like that is like really good for your brain not to have that initial surge of dopamine, because I used to just wake up, scroll on my phone, be in bed, and then not want to do anything. And like, I don't know how I did that for so long, so unconsciously, you know? Like I didn't realise that was bad, but because I'm self-employed and because I work for myself, so I'm a PT and online coach, and I also do commercial modelling, like all of these things, I have to be the one, like I am the business owner, I have to be the one to like get out of the house or to do my work. I have to do these things myself, and no one is going to come for me, you know? No one is going to save me. I have to do it. I have to get up, I have to make my bed, I have to brush my teeth, I have to shower, I have to do these things. And like that for me is essential to have that routine, because for me it seems really daunting and overwhelming. Like I'm a person who can be really overwhelmed, So for me to have these routines in place just means that there's less chance of me being overwhelmed, and I can just get into my day and let it flow, really. Like the other day, for example, I felt really upset and a bit angry, and I really tried to like tap into those emotions and where I felt them in my body, and I ended up doing a really nice yoga, like a hip opening yoga for trauma, and it was online, and it felt so good. And afterwards I just journaled for like an hour, just wrote down everything that I was feeling, and then you can kind of close the journal and move on with your day. So if you do have time in your day, whether that's before work or after work or at your lunch break or just 10 minutes even in the beginning of your day, just try to connect with how you're feeling. You don't have to spend like 2 hours on anything, you know, or at the weekend maybe you could spend 2 hours doing a little bit more deeper work, but then literally just 10 minutes in the morning, you're good to go. So yeah, I hope I answered all of your questions, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like this video, it would be really nice if you could give it a like or a comment, and let me know what you did like about it. And also let me know if you would like me to do any more videos on any topics that interest you. I'm really happy to do one about a bit more about my modelling story, or about spirituality, or my own life experiences, day in the life. So yeah, just let me know. I'm very open to hearing what you guys would like from me. I'm very new to YouTube still, so I'm still learning and I'm still growing. So yeah, thank you for watching, and yeah, stay tuned.